Hi guys, it's EGC. So today I'm going to review the Narukami deck that I just showed you last week. So this will be the version that as I was taking that video, and actually after this I would like to show you what changes that I'm likely going to make. Not going to be very big, but just a little. But you can also see the reason why I changed this to that. So let's start. So starting Vanguard, nothing special, just say starting Vanguard. So put anyone you want. I just got a shiny one, so I just used my shiny one. And I'm running 4 of the Draconic Vanquisher. Of course, it's the new key unit for Narukami. That's why I'm putting 4 red. And first skill is a permanent skill during your turn. If that turn both players have a total of 3 cards binded, then the front row unit will get 10k power. So very simple. You just need to find a way to bind 3 or more units in total. Then all your front row units gets 10k, which you can easily get done by the second skill, which is active skill, counter +1. Select your own or your opponent's front row regard and bind it. And if your soul have a grade 3 unit, then you and your opponent will also need to bind one card from their hand, which I saw a lot of people asking about the second part, because you are the turn player, so you suppose okay, to set a face on this is what I'm going to bind, and then your opponent set something like that's what I'm going to bind, and then just bind it out. So instead of seeing what they bind first, then you bind it out, seems that's not the case. But if you're doing casual plays, I don't think that matters that much. But if you want to kind of do it correctly, it's better to just say, okay, we both need to bind a card from my hand, so I will tell you this is what I'm going to bind face down, and then they will just face down, and then you just put them aside face up. Basically, I think that's easier to sort things out instead of whose cards first, something like that. But yeah, just a little info. So basically, this card, as long as your soul has a grade 3, just by counter +1, you can get all your front row units 10k. So easy. But then since the second skill is active skill, unfortunately, I don't think there's a way that you can put a grade 3 in soul during your main phase to make this happen before you do a second ride, or you need to wait a turn for it. And the reason why I will tell you after, but I think you should know. So when you first ride Vanquisher, you can only bind one front row regard basically, and then the next turn, depending on what you have, you rewrite or do something else, then you can get the full effects off. But overall, a very strong unit, because this makes you like your XL2 more, even though it just got 5k. Once you can get the first skill off on a XL cycle, it's already 15k plus, so that can be pretty big. And even your small, just normal regard columns, usually they are small and just stop when your opponent got a trigger. But now, since all your front row units gets 10k, if they got a trigger, you just cancel out the 10k and you still can hit them if you do the maths correctly. And next, I'm running 4 of the Jaggy Shot Dragoon. This card is so great if you play Vanquisher. First skill, if this card attacks the Vanguard and you buy a card from your hand as a cost, then choose one of your opponent's front row regards and bind it. And if your opponent has no front row regard, then you can draw a card. So even if your opponent has no front row regard, you can still discard a card to kind of draw one back. And there's a lot of cards that activate the skill when you bind from your hand, so still very useful. And just by this card, you bind one of your own from your hand, and then you bind one from your opponent's front row, and with your Vanquisher to bind one of the front row, which you usually get the draw already. At the same time, you're binding 3 cards. So very helpful for Vanquisher to get the free binded cards in order to get the 10k. And then even when you're swinging, instead of a 12, it's not 22. So very strong. And the second skill is when the battle ends, if your Vanguard is a Dragonic Vanquisher, you can put this card in the soul and draw 1. So you put this card in the soul first, fulfill Vanquisher skill that your soul needs a Gravery. That's why I say you can't get it on the first ride, but like after attack you already put this guy in, so next turn you don't need to rewrite Vanquisher and still get the full effects off, and you get to draw one. And you probably will be drawing another one by binding 1 cards, and that binding cards will help you do something else. So very strong. Like there's no reason that you are not going to put 4 of these 2. And I'm also running a Tectonic Steel Dragon. It's a kind of a backup, but I like it. So talk about the skill again. When this card attacks, the Vanguard counter +1, and choose one of your opponent's front row regard and bind it. Then this card, the cards from your hand equals to the number of your opponent's regards. After the battle ends, this unit will stand and you get 5k -1 drive. So there are chances that when your opponents know you are playing a Vanquisher, then for early game they just don't play regards, because unless they're playing like Shadow Paladins, then they can play in the main and put something at the back and do nothing. And even if they do those, you still have ways to pull them out and bind them. So the regards number will be less, or even be none. So that's why the tonics can be strong, because you just need to counter +1 and maybe just drop a hand or 2, or maybe like 0, then you can restand. Get a 5k, and you can probably finish your opponents off. So here's the Graveries. I'm running 9 because these 2 to me is a kind of a must for 4/4, and I always like to tag something in, which I wasn't sure what to put at first and just was swinging like 4/4, but then after I watched a few like YouTube videos online with Japanese players, and they use this, and I think okay, so it's making sense. And still always good to put something great from the like old times work again. So here we are. And then for grade 2s, I'm running 2 foliage horns. This is the unit that I might cut a little bit more, even though I only run 2. I might just cut to 1 or maybe none. But the reason why I put this unit is because of the first skill. During a turn, if during that turn, like any player's card is being binded, then this unit will get 5k power. So you can always hit for 14 just by itself. At least you can hit 14k. So I don't see a reason that it is a bad card, but just not that useful. The second skill is when it attacks the Vanguard, counter +1. choose one line, you bind the front row, and you can pull the back row of the same line to front row. So it's kind of like cho, but cost you kind of loss for sure. But sometimes if you don't, and because like there's so many cards that help you deal with the front row, so I don't see the reason that you use the second skill that much. To me, this card is more for a 14k attacker. So if you want to like focus on doing something else, then you can cut this off. But for now, 2 is fine. Maybe I will cut into 1, just in case if I need it. But I don't want to cut it to 0 yet. And then I'm running 4 trolls. Simple, like the same skill as this, but his appears, his attack, so different timing, and he got a resist as long as your opponent's got no front row regards. And after your Vanguard attacks, just kind of button when you can withstand. And with Vanquisher skill to get 10k, you can just wait for like 14 or maybe 22 or 24 on extra circle and stand again and attack. So he is becoming more useful, I think. Okay, so did a little break because just start coughing and I need some water. So after Cho, the next that I run is Chatura. He's an old friend of ours, so he's back with like a different way of working. So first skill, if this card attacks hit the Vanguard, you can soul blast 1, draw 1, and bind your opponent's front row regards. So this skill is kind of like the old one, and instead of getting 3k this time, it's like the second skill helps you with it, which is during a turn, if this card is being binded from your hand, you can call this card from your regard circle. If you do so during a turn, this unit will get 10k. So he can be a 18k for a turn, and after that it will just be 8k. And as long as he hits, you can soul blast 1, to at least draw 1, and then bind my front row regards. Speaking of soul, Jaggy Shot will help you feel the soul, and if you keep it riding, you will still get the soul. So it's quite easy, but your opponents likely won't let you hit, but still a good skill to have. And then I'm running 3 of this new guy, full textured dragon. I think that's what the name is. So this is a regard only skill, and the skill is when this card attacks, if your Vanguard is a Dragonic Vanquisher, so blasting 1, you draw 1 first and then bind 1 card from your hand. So another way to activate like Chatura and another unit that I will tell you in a bit. And sometimes if you've got like too many Grey Freeze in hand and you still want some guarding power, then you can use this way to bind the Grey Free and draw 1. Well, basically draw 1 first and then you can choose to bind it. So won't hurt, in my opinion. So that's why I put 3 of this in, which if you really don't like Voltage Horn, you can take these 2 out and put 1 of each. But for now, I'm likely to take 1 Voltage Horn out for 1 more Chatura. At first I don't think I need 4, but I can see how good he is as a pressure. Like at least for a turn will be 18k, can be 28, can be 23, can be 33. So all sorts of things can happen, and the 10k power helps. As long as I keep pushing, I can find a way to win, and that's why I run 4 troll. So I think that's it for grade 2. So you can also let me know how you think about the lineup. Do you like foliage horn? Do you not? In entering grade 1s, I'm running 4 of the Mighty Bolt Dragoon. So instead of a strike order, it is now with different skill. First, during your turn, if one of the player's card is being binded, you will get 5k, so pretty easy to get 5k. And second skill is a Vanguard and Riga skill. When this card appears from hand, then look at the top 5 cards of the deck. You can choose up to 1 graveyard cards into your hand, shuffle your deck. If you add 1, then discard a card. So it's basically like the old Strike Order on-call skill, but instead you need to show a grade 3, you know, the search was like a specific name. Now you just need to call it from hand, look at top 5, and see if you got one. So it's not stable as before, but it's a common skill now, which I think more and more clans will get these. And I do find them useful because there are times that I'm like only got one of the Vanquisher and don't have the Jaggy Shot, or maybe I have a Jaggy Shot but I don't have a Vanquisher. Then they come in, I look at top 5 and I get what I want. And then I'm running 4 of the Rising Phoenix. I don't think I need to explain that much. If you're playing Narukami, you know how important Rising Phoenix is. As long as you bind a card of your opponent's regard, it can be back from the drop and get 3k for the turn. So if you ride, you just need to find a way to soul blast it, and then you can just normally guard it and then call it back. And you can even call on top of it to let it go to drop and then bind something of your opponent regards and then call it back for 11k. Booster or attacker. And with Vanquisher, you get a 10k for front row, so even just by itself can hit 21k. So just good. And then I'm running 4 of the Desert Gunner budget. So this is another card like Chatura. If you bind this card from your hand during your turn, you can call this card. And when it appears as a regard, if during the turn, like any of the player's card is being binded, basically, if you bind this card in court, you can just use this skill, Soul Charge Bond, which do helps you a bit because Chatura needs soul. But of course you can choose to, well, sadly you cannot choose to soul charge or not, but still, if you do like to use like dragon at that size that eats you a lot of soul, this will be a good pack as well. But to me, the soul charge is not that annoying, because I usually just get the parts that I need. To me, as long as I get one Vanquisher, I get one Jaggy Shot, and I just not right normally, I can just play as far as I can, depending on what I draw after, but they aren't that important, so soul charge is not a matter at all. Which you can see my grade 1s is only 12, not a lot, because Vanquisher keep pumping the front row, and I just want to keep my front row always on, so I prefer to put more grade 3s, to put more grade 2s, so that they can just keep, I just can keep calling them and keep attacking. Just imagine they keep dying but I still got some key units out and get the 10k for frame roll and keep hitting. That's basically how I want this deck to work. And in order to give enough pressure, I'm running 8 crits, 4 draws and 4 heals. So I just want to make sure every attack I make hurts. That's why I'm running 8 crit. But if you do afraid your hands is going to like dry out, then you can take 1 crit to become draw, which is totally fine. But for now, I think 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heals is great. And since Vanquisher gives you the 10k power to front row, which I keep saying, so you don't actually need front triggers that much. If you want to play for fun, you can, but to me, I think trying to win quickly is important, because your way of playing is slowed down. In order for Vanquisher to be great, you need to wait for a turn, which in the past, if you're running Corner Buster, you can just kill your opponent during the turn you ride. If you're going Tectonic Trail, you might be able to do that as well, but with Vanquisher, you usually can't win during the first turn. Maybe, if you're lucky to find your pieces and bind 3 cards in total to at least get the 10k for front row, you might, but usually when you first ride, you might not have that much hand, and you need to find a way to recover. So thinking of this, I prepare to ride him first, and before that, and even on that turn, I push as much damage on my opponent as I can. If they heal, they heal. Then I can make sure they can't actually heal that much when my Vanquisher can be the second turn and like bind 3 cards, make sure the 10k is on and push through. So I think the deck is actually quite straightforward, because involving a lot of new cards, which I think you don't need to worry too much about old cards, like maybe just Rising Phoenix, the PG, Cho, and maybe a Tectonic Trio. But if you can't find one, you can just take it out. But Cho is a must, and Rising Phoenix is a must, and of course the PG. So if you're new to Narukami and try to, if you can find your Cho-Os, you don't need 4, you can just put 3. And if you don't have that much money to buy Cho, I can't tell you how much it costs in the English version, because I don't know. But you can even put 2 in, because you have so many other cards like Chatura, Death Sides, all these cards you can still put in. And Great One, I don't think Rising Phoenix will cost you that much. Then it's just the PG, but Narukami is not exactly the mainstream, so I don't think the PG is that expensive. So you can just basically build a Narukami as long as you get almost like a full set of the new cards and finally fill all pieces, and you have a deck that is ready. And it's strong compared to the past. Like Corner Buster is so easy that your opponent know what you're doing. As long as you put a Narukami like first manga out, they know, okay, it's a Corner Buster, I'm just gonna save my PG. And I just need to win before my PG runs out. But now every single attack hurts, so there's no like guarantee on when will you die. Even if you PG my Vanguard attack, I just put the crit for other parts, and they are strong as they are because of the 10k Vanquisher gives. So they just need to work hard and find a way to defend themselves. And Vanquisher is binding your hand as well, so that's just how cool Vanquisher is now. And this is the reason why I like it. Again, people say playing Vanquisher is kind of slowing down the way you play Narukami, but I have to say I like this way more. Do let me know your thoughts about this deck. About, do you think Narukami really slowed it down? And if you think it is it a good change, or you just think, oh well, now I can't beat like Shadow Paladins or other decks, or ASO, I don't know. But do let me know how you feel, so I can take some reference as well. Which unfortunately you will not be able to see Shadow Paladin and Aqua Force because I don't play those two clans. But I'm going to test a premium version of Vanquisher very soon. I'm going to test if I just run these two guys is better, or the mix of the old Vanquisher and this Vanquisher together is better. I don't know, but I will be testing it. Then you will see the results and probably see a deck profile. Yeah. I think I speak long enough. Again, let me know your comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.